Sometimes the hardest part of growth is realizing that not everyone can come with you. There are seasons where life starts tugging on your heart, urging you to focus, to heal, to rise, and suddenly the people who once felt like home start feeling like anchors. You look around and wonder why you don't fit like you used to, why conversations that once lifted you now drain your spirit, why you feel increasingly called inward while others demand the version of you that no longer exists. But this is what transformation looks like. There is a version of you emerging that needs clarity, peace, and direction. You cannot nurture that version while constantly shrinking to make others comfortable. You cannot find your identity in the approval of those who are only meant to be temporary. You cannot keep breaking your own heart trying to hold on to what your growth has already released. There is no freedom in forcing connections. There is no healing in staying attached to what hurts you. You are allowed to choose yourself. Focusing on you isn't selfish, it's necessary. You have poured into people who never learned your language. You have shown up for those who left you empty. You have silenced your needs so others could speak louder. And now it's time to honor the calling within you that says you deserve more, not because you're better than them, but because you are becoming better than who you used to be. Letting go doesn't mean you hate them. It doesn't mean you forget every good moment. It simply means you refuse to tie your future to what isn't growing with you. You can love someone deeply and still release them gracefully. You can forgive and move forward without walking backward. You can wish someone well from a distance that protects your peace. It's okay if they don't understand your journey. It's okay if they call you different, distant, or changed. You were never created to stay the same. Elevation requires separation. Clarity comes when noise is removed. And sometimes the greatest gift you can give yourself is space to think, to breathe, to heal, to evolve. You do not owe explanations for your growth. You do not need permission to protect your heart. You do not need validation to focus on your purpose. When you stop chasing those who are comfortable with your old self, you make room for the people who are ready to celebrate your new self. Your next level is not found in the crowd, it's found in the quiet, in the moments where you choose peace over chaos, healing over history, growth over comfort. You do not flourish by holding on to expired connections. You flourish by trusting that letting go is not losing, it is making space for what deserves to stay. Focus on yourself, heal yourself, build yourself. Because the version of you that is rising is worth every boundary you set, every good bye you whisper, and every step you take toward the life you were meant to live. Let them go and watch yourself grow. Choosing yourself is not selfish, it's necessary for growth. For so long you may have been conditioned to believe that choosing yourself means you are turning your back on others, that prioritizing your well-being somehow makes you unkind, distant, or too focused on your own desires. But the truth is, you cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot give love when you are depleted. You cannot invest in others when you neglect your own mental, emotional, and spiritual health. Choosing yourself is one of the most courageous acts you can commit to, because it challenges every lie that has ever told you that you are only valuable when you are serving someone else's needs before your own. There comes a point where staying available for everyone becomes a slow form of self-abandonment. When you constantly say yes to others, you begin saying no to yourself. You stretch your energy, your peace, and your confidence thin just to keep connections alive that may not even be nurturing you in return. And while they flourish from your support, you silently shrink. You pretend you're okay while your soul whispers that you deserve better. That inner voice isn't asking you to be selfish, it's asking you to honor the person you were created to become. Choosing yourself means recognizing your worth without waiting for someone else to confirm it. It means looking at the mirror and acknowledging that your happiness matters too, your goals matter too, your healing matters too. Too often you've allowed guilt to convince you to hold on to relationships that suffocate you, to stay loyal to environments that drain you, to keep giving when there's nothing left inside. But growth requires boundaries. Growth requires knowing when to step back. Growth requires understanding that saving yourself is not abandoning anyone, it is simply refusing to abandon you. When you choose yourself, something powerful happens inside you. Confidence rises, clarity returns, you reclaim pieces of yourself that were lost in the chaos of pleasing everyone else. You begin to trust your own voice, your own decisions, and your own path. You stop negotiating your value. You stop over-explaining your choices. You stop shrinking to fit into places that no longer make room for your evolution. Choosing yourself sends a message to your heart that you are worth the effort, worth the protection, worth the love you've been freely giving away. It isn't always easy. Sometimes choosing yourself means walking away from people you thought would stay forever. Sometimes it means turning down opportunities that don't align with your purpose. Sometimes it means disappointing others who benefited from your silence and compliance. But peace will always be a better companion than approval. Peace will always be a better home than a crowd where you feel unseen. Peace will always be a better reward than applause from people who only like the version of you that serves them. You deserve to wake up excited for your life, not exhausted by it. You deserve relationships that reciprocate what you give. You deserve spaces that recognize your value without making you fight for acknowledgement. And the moment you decide to prioritize your heart, your dreams, and your healing, you step into a stronger, wiser, more aligned version of yourself. Choosing yourself is not selfish, it is survival. It is healing, it is growth. It is the path toward becoming who you were always meant to be. Not everyone is meant to stay for every season of your life. We often enter relationships and friendships believing that the connection will last forever. We hold on to people because they were there when we needed them, because they played a role in shaping us, or because their presence once felt like comfort. But life is made of seasons, and every season carries a different purpose. The individuals who walked with you through one chapter may not have the capacity, the mindset, or the calling to walk into the next. Holding on to people who are no longer aligned with your growth can keep you tied to a version of yourself you've already outgrown. There are times when the ending of a relationship is not a sign of failure, but evidence that you're evolving. Some people were assigned to your past, not your future. They played their part, they taught you lessons, gave you memories, and helped build strength within you, but their chapter has closed. That doesn't make them bad. It doesn't make you ungrateful. It simply means the story has shifted. And refusing to accept that can keep you stuck in cycles that God is trying to deliver you from. When you begin to change, certain people will feel threatened by your growth. They will try to keep you where they met you because your evolution disrupts their comfort. They may question your decisions, criticize your boundaries, or label you as different because you are no longer playing the role that benefited them. Instead of shrinking yourself to fit their expectations, you must recognize that some connections are seasonal. Love doesn't always mean staying. Sometimes love means letting go with gratitude instead of clinging with fear. Every person in your life is either pushing you forward, holding you back, or keeping you still. And when someone's presence becomes resistance instead of support, that is your signal that the season has shifted. Growth can feel lonely sometimes because the people who surrounded your struggles may not be the ones who can handle your success. Those who once celebrated you may now compete with you. Those who once understood your pain may not understand your healing, and that's okay. Your journey isn't theirs to approve. Release doesn't always come with closure. It doesn't always come with agreement. Sometimes it's a quiet decision within yourself that says, I love me enough to move forward. Letting go is not a rejection of the past, it's an embrace of the future. And the sooner you allow seasonal people to exit, the sooner you make space for those who belong in your next level. The new connections waiting for you cannot enter a life already filled with distractions, drama, and familiarity that keeps you small. You were not created to cling to expired attachments. You are meant to evolve, to expand, to rise, and rising often requires releasing. The people who truly belong in your future will not be intimidated by your growth. They will celebrate it. They will push you, protect your peace, and love the person you are becoming. So bless the ones who helped you grow, then let them go. Because the next season of your life needs room to breathe, and you can't carry everyone into the place where you are destined to flourish. Peace is the proof that a connection still belongs. There is a certain stillness your spirit recognizes when you are surrounded by the right people. You don't feel the need to perform, to explain yourself repeatedly, or to question your value. Peace becomes the language of the relationship. But when that peace disappears and is replaced by anxiety, confusion, and constant conflict, it's often a sign that the season has changed. We force ourselves to hold on because of history, but history doesn't guarantee alignment. Some connections become chaos in disguise, and your heart knows it even when your loyalty tries to ignore it. You can feel when something no longer fits. The discomfort doesn't lie. You can sense when you're trying too hard to maintain energy that used to flow naturally. Conversations start feeling heavier. Presence starts feeling like pressure. You leave interactions questioning yourself instead of feeling supported. You begin compromising your values, boundaries, and identity for the sake of keeping the peace externally while losing peace internally. Peace does not demand your silence. Peace does not require you to minimize your needs. True peace allows you to be exactly who you are without punishment. We often convince ourselves that chaos is normal because we've lived in it for so long. We confuse attachment with love and struggle with loyalty, but love should build, not break. Loyalty should support, not suffocate. If your peace disappears every time someone enters the room or sends a message, that is not connection, that is a warning. Peace is one of the greatest indicators of whether a relationship is still aligned with your growth. When God starts shifting you, He will disturb the environments that are no longer meant to support your elevation. What once felt right will start feeling wrong. What once felt comfortable will start feeling small. The discomfort is not punishment. It is a gentle push toward your destiny. It's not easy to walk away from what you're familiar with. You hope things will change. You hope love will magically heal what dysfunction has destroyed. But peace is a form of clarity. It shows you what words and promises never could. Pay attention to how your spirit reacts when certain people show up. Your peace will tell you everything you need to know. If it costs you your peace, it is too expensive. If it drains you of joy, it is too damaging. If it forces you to betray yourself, it is too dangerous. The right people will contribute to your peace, not destroy it. They will understand your boundaries and honor your healing. They will celebrate your growth and make room for your voice. They will bring stability instead of uncertainty. They will be a safe place instead of a battlefield. You will not have to constantly fight for a space in their life because they genuinely value what you bring. And yes, letting go can hurt. The absence can feel heavy. But peace will always follow the hard decision. You will start breathing deeper. You will think clearer. You will move freer. You will notice that life becomes lighter when you stop forcing connections that are no longer healthy for your soul. Your peace is sacred. It is not negotiable. It is a divine signal protecting you from places that your future cannot survive in. When a relationship still belongs in your life, peace will remain present. When it's time to move on, peace will fade until you finally listen. Separation often creates space for elevation. When life begins to shift, it can feel like everything familiar is being stripped away. People you depended on suddenly become distant. Environments that once brought comfort now feel tight and suffocating. It's confusing because your heart remembers how good things used to be, but your spirit can feel the change tugging on you. Separation doesn't always look like a clean break. Sometimes it's a slow unraveling, a quiet disconnect, a gradual realization that you can no longer stay where you are without shrinking who you're becoming. Those moments aren't signs of failure. They are signals that you are being prepared for something higher. When you are being elevated, not everyone can rise with you. Some people are only equipped for the level they met you on. They may love who you were, but struggle with who you're becoming. Elevation exposes insecurities not just in others, but within yourself too. You start questioning whether you deserve more, whether you're allowed to dream bigger, whether you're wrong for wanting a healthier life. But growth is proof that you're still alive. You weren't designed to remain in the same cycle forever. Every time you level up, something or someone that once felt essential may begin to fall away. It can feel painful because the heart holds memories longer than the future offers clarity. You miss the connection even if you know it wasn't growing. You miss the comfort even if it cost you your peace. But elevation demands release. New blessings require room to land. Holding on to what has expired blocks what is trying to enter. Separation is not loss, it is alignment. It clears your path. It removes distractions. It exposes what was never meant to stay. What feels like something being taken away is often something being made possible. You may not realize how heavy certain attachments were until you let them go and suddenly can breathe again. The weight you carried became so familiar that you mistook it for normal. But heaviness is not a lifestyle, it is a warning. You deserve connections that lift you, not ones that keep you grounded in places you've outgrown. You deserve to walk toward your purpose without constantly dragging dead expectations behind you. You deserve a life that feels like expansion, not compression. Elevation will challenge your identity. Who are you when you're no longer defined by old relationships? Who are you when you stop dimming your light to avoid making others uncomfortable? Who are you when you choose your future over your fear? That transformation is uncomfortable, but necessary. Your wings weren't given so you could stay in the nest. You were made to fly, and flight requires separation from the ground. There will be moments where loneliness attempts to convince you that going backward is safer. There will be memories that replay and make you question your decision, but pay attention to how your soul responds. Does the thought of returning make your heart sink? Does staying still make your purpose feel silent? That tension means you are being stretched for the next dimension of your life. Elevation isn't always announced with applause. Sometimes it comes wrapped in heartbreak, silence, and pruning. But that pruning is where power grows. Every person who leaves creates clarity. Every door that closes creates direction. Every shift that hurts creates strength. You are not breaking, you are becoming. Separation is the process. Elevation is the reward. You can love people and still release them gracefully. Love is not proven by how long you hold on. Love is not measured by how much of yourself you sacrifice to stay connected. Love is not validated by your willingness to endure pain just to say you didn't give up. Real love means wanting the best for someone even if the best path for them and the best path for you are no longer the same road. It takes strength to admit the chapter has ended, and it takes maturity to close it without bitterness. We often believe that letting go means we have failed the relationship, that somehow we didn't try hard enough, didn't pray long enough, didn't forgive deeply enough, so we cling to history even when the present is hurting us. We keep showing up even when our soul is asking us to step back. We let memories talk us into staying where we are no longer respected, no longer valued, no longer growing. But holding on doesn't heal what is already broken, it only prolongs the pain. Loving someone doesn't guarantee they are meant to stay in your life. Some people's role was to teach you, not to accompany you forever. They may have helped you find your strength, discover your worth, or understand your boundaries. They may have been the comfort you needed when your world was falling apart. Their presence mattered, and their love was real, but their season has ended. Honoring that truth is not disrespect, it is wisdom. Releasing someone gracefully means letting go without cursing their name. It means acknowledging the good, even if the ending is painful. It means choosing healing instead of resentment. You don't have to blame them to free yourself. You don't have to make them the villain just because the story changed. You can say thank you for what it was, and still walk away from what it will never be. Sometimes love transforms instead of disappears. You may no longer walk together, but you can still wish them peace. You can still hope they become the best version of themselves, even if that version grows far from you. The heart is big enough to love without possession, to care without control, to remember without returning. You don't have to erase someone to move on. You just have to accept that your paths now lead in different directions. Letting go gracefully also protects your character. When you leave with grace, you leave with peace. You leave knowing that you honored yourself without dishonoring them. You leave knowing you chose growth over drama. You leave with a clear conscience, not a wounded ego, and over time you will be grateful that you walked away before bitterness had a chance to take root. It's okay to feel sad. It's okay to grieve. It's okay to miss what once felt like home. And it's okay to take your time adjusting to a life without someone who once meant so much. Healing isn't a straight line, it's a tender process. But every day you release a little more of what wasn't meant to stay. You make space for what is coming next. You make space for connections aligned with your evolution. You make space for peace to return. You make space for joy that doesn't drain you. You can love someone and still let them go. You can cherish the past and still choose the future. You can honor the relationship and still prioritize your healing. Love doesn't always hold tight. Sometimes love opens its hands and trusts that letting go is the most beautiful way to honor what once was. You deserve peace, not chaos. You deserve love that feels safe, not love that keeps you questioning your worth. You deserve people who choose you with the same consistency and sincerity that you offer them. Sometimes the greatest act of self-love is refusing to settle for the bare minimum. You weren't created to live in emotional survival mode, constantly trying to earn space in someone's life, constantly fighting to prove that you matter. When a connection requires you to shrink, silence yourself, or betray who you truly are just to be tolerated, that is not love, that is bondage, and you were not made for bondage. There comes a moment where your spirit gets tired of being tired. A moment where you look at your reflection and realize you have abandoned yourself trying to keep someone else. You have poured out everything, and for what? To remain in the room with someone who can't even see what they have in front of them. Realizing that is not heartbreak, it's awakening. It's the moment you start choosing peace over pain, clarity over confusion, truth over attachment. It's the moment you decide that you will no longer be the one chasing, fixing, or explaining how to love you. Living in alignment with your worth means setting boundaries that honor your heart. At first, those boundaries will feel uncomfortable, especially if you've spent years prioritizing everyone else. You may feel guilty, you may feel selfish, you may worry that people will leave. But anyone who walks away because you finally respected yourself was never meant to stay. Boundaries don't push the right people out, they filter out the wrong ones. And the ones who remain will be the ones who value your peace as much as you do. Protecting your peace also means being selective with access to your life. Not everyone should know your struggles. Not everyone deserves a seat at your table. There are people who only show up when they need something, who drain you more than they support you, who celebrate your downfall louder than your victories. Letting them go is not bitterness, it is wisdom. Just because someone has history with you does not mean they deserve a future with you. Sometimes the biggest miracle happens when you walk away from what was breaking you. Healing is not only about recovering from what hurt you, it's also about restructuring your life, so you are no longer accessible to the same kind of hurt again. It's about learning to trust your intuition and honoring the alarms your spirit sends when someone's presence is disturbing your peace. Your peace is sacred. Protect it with everything in you. Peace is the proof that you are aligned with where you belong. If being around someone constantly disturbs that peace, that is your sign. Don't ignore what your heart has already figured out. And when you choose yourself, don't apologize for it. You're not arrogant for protecting your peace. You're not heartless for removing yourself from chaos. You're not selfish for putting your mental and emotional wellness first. You are simply acknowledging that your life has value, that your soul deserves rest, that your heart deserves humans who handle it gently. You are rewriting the story, a story where you no longer play the role of the person who suffers in silence just to keep others comfortable. One day you will look back and thank yourself for walking away. You will see how letting go created room for real love, real peace, real joy, not the kind that comes and goes depending on someone's mood, but the kind that remains steady. You will discover people who understand your heart without you having to constantly explain it. You will find community that doesn't just want you, they honor you. Protecting your peace is not just a choice, it is a declaration that you finally believe you deserve better. And that belief will change your entire life.